we'll have this discussion.
Discussion? What discussion?
This is a discussion combustion.
Coming to you from Denver, Colorado. This is Discussion Combustion Podcast with your hosts, Kevin Batstone and Arthur Raw.
It's funny. My parents almost named me Rachel. That was like the other name running. And people accidentally call me Rachel all the time. Isn't that bizarre?
Oh, you were like energetically imprinted from before you were born.
Yeah. I was actually just with people a couple of days ago and they were like, great day, Rachel. So much fun. I'm like, what? You didn't know my name this whole day?
You do
like, my name is
look
Renee,
like
not
a
Rachel.
Rachel. But Renee's, I think, way more special and unique, which is
you.
fun.
I think so too.
Agree with that.
Yeah, you don't meet too many Renees out in the world.
No,
Really
but
don't.
far too many Laurens. I grew up, I was on a softball team.
There's a lot
There
of
were
Laurens.
12 of us. I don't even know if that's how many people are supposed to be on a softball team, but 6 of the 12 were Lauren. So I grew up not really loving my name because I felt like I was just one of many. I was like a sheep.
It was like the name
One
of
Lauren in the bunch.
1984. 1984 was all the Laurens.
It was all the Laurens. Yeah, I mean, I'm from 89, so I guess there's a lot of Kevins. Kevin's not really a very unique name. I feel like there's quite a few of those.
Mm-hmm.
Arthur, I don't know. That's kind of more of a unique name, I feel like.
Yeah, I've only met 3, maybe 4 Arthurs live action. It hasn't happened often. And I'm always like, I don't feel like you should have my same name. Like by how they look, I'm like, you don't look like an Arthur to me.
You still look like a Robert, though.
A Robert?
Yeah, remember?
I got Gus once.
Gus?
Yeah.
Gus Polinski?
Said I looked like Gus. I looked like a Gus.
I've never met an Arthur. You're my first Arthur. So.
Oh,
I think
well,
you're
hello.
my
Nice
first
to meet you,
two,
Renee.
live action or fictional.
Well, what's up, Lauren?
A lot of firsts.
Yeah.
A lot of firsts. And I'll tell you this. Here we go. Episode 206, Discussion Combustion. We are joined by the Biohacker Babes. Thanks so much for sitting down with us. Zooming in, of course. We'd love to get you live action in Denver, but that's what's great about Zoom. We can still have this conversation. We got Renee out in Vegas. Lauren's out, and you said Maryland?
Today. Yeah,
Today. Who knows where you'll be tomorrow?
exactly.
Yeah. Thanks for having us. I'm excited for this.
Yeah, absolutely. So I don't know if you know who Clint Gershenson is, but he is all into biohacking. He's one of my best friends, and he started following the two of you, and he recommended that we reach out. And he's like, you two should reach out to these girls. They're doing awesome things. And so that's how we heard about y'all. But we looked up the definition of biohacking before starting this episode.
Oh, this is going to be fun.
It's kind of like a Western approach. Like it talks about what did it talk about exactly? It was like it said stuff about like misinformation and like non FDA approved type of, what did it say?
I don't know if it was quite to that extent. I mean, I plugged my phone in over in the other room, so I don't have the definition in front of me. But
yeah,
just
the Oxford
a lot
definition,
of bullshit.
just a lot of nonsense, apparently. Because I'm not really familiar with what biohacking even is. So I am excited for y'all to enlighten me on what this looks like.
Cool.
Well, I think the same way that Arthur likes to tell people what an Arthur is supposed to look like, we can tell you what we think biohacking is. Because I think there's so many definitions, and that's why it's really freaking fun. I think biohacking kind of lights people up in sometimes a really great way and sometimes in a really potentially negative way. And we're all like just forcing this particular understanding or connotation onto this word. It's just a word. So I'm excited you guys wanted to start there.
So what does biohacking mean to the two of you? Like how do you define biohacking? Because like my personal definition, my personal thought of it is that it's doing something that enables your body to spike natural processes in order to create benefit. That's kind of like that's kind of like how I was thinking about it. Like, but what is y'all's definition?
Yeah. I like that a lot. Well, we learned biohacking from our dad, who we call the OG biohacker. And so we grew up in our house, and actually I'm going to let Renee tell the story because she's a great storyteller. But yeah, we learned from our dad.
Yeah. Well, I would say just like very basic biohacking. It's anything that can hack your biology. So it can be as simple as just like changing your diet or trying a new exercise routine. And then we like to bring in the data quantification. So wearing a sleep tracker, stress tracker, activity tracker, all these things, CGM, right? Continuous glucose monitor, and using the data to just propel you down that path towards your, optimum health faster. But yeah, so how we grew up with it. So our dad, the OG biohacker. So we grew up we're both 80s babies, but really in the 90s with our dad, he had all this fancy tech in the house. We had like an infrared sauna, we had a vibration plate, a PEMF device, red light therapy.
Vibration plate?
Vibration plate, you familiar with that?
No, I don't know what that is.
It's literally a plate you stand on and it vibrates. It's a pretty simple machine.
What does that do for you? What is
Yeah,
that?
yeah.
What are the benefits?
So the one thing is it's really good for the lymphatic system. So the lymphatic system, I don't know if you're familiar with that, really important for the immune system too, but there's nothing to pump the lymphatic system. So think about like the heart and the cardiovascular system, right? You have this pumping of blood through your system. The lymphatic system needs a way to pump. And that's why exercise is really good. So like jumping jacks, running, jumping on a trampoline, those are all really good things for the lymph too. But the vibration plate does that. The next level thing with the vibration plate is you can exercise on it. So you can get on the plate and do like push-ups, squats, crunches, things like that. And you actually get, like, say you want to do like 10 minutes of squats, you can get that benefit in like 30 seconds of squatting on the vibration plate because it's vibrating your muscles at a certain frequency.
Interesting.
So it's a hack. But anyway, so we grew up with like all this stuff in our house, and we were both ballet dancers. So if we had an injury or something, or we got sick, our dad would pull out some like really cool tech or like a homeopathic remedy. We didn't really think much of it. We thought that was kind of the normal thing. We went off to college and realized that's not what most people grew up with. So so we kind of got a jump start, but then we both actually had some pretty serious health issues in our 20s that made us revisit the whole biohacking thing. We were like, what is missing with traditional medicine, where they're just kind of giving you a pill for your ill? There's just so much else. And so we kind of discovered the world of biohacking even more since our dad. But shout out to our dad. Thank you for giving us the kickstart.
Yeah, I would say the
OG
tech is a
biohacker.
huge piece. Yeah, we call him that. We fight for him. Like someone else says they are, it's our dad. So the tech is a huge piece of it because I think a big component of biohacking is minimum effective dose. Like how can we really make our time spent working on our health and wellness efficient? Some people like really love going to the gym for an hour and a half, 2 hours. Some people are like, oh my God, I'd rather die. Please, can I get it done in 15 minutes? And biohacking allows you to do that. It's not a shortcut, but there's technology that has just become so powerful and so specific and strategic that you really can get the benefits of exercise in less time. So that's one kind of component of it. I think another component is, and this is really what we learned from our dad, is that it's curiosity. It's how do I become a better version of myself just by asking the right questions, by being discerning, by being skeptical, by not taking no for an answer, like continuing to just ask, because there is a solution out there. And conventional wisdom or conventional medicine doesn't often give us an answer. So it's really up to us to be that N of one experimentation human specimen and figure it out through like intelligent experimentation.
I mean, while we're on the subject, and I am probably a bigger believer of holistic healing over mainstream pharmaceutical stuff. And listeners know this, but I like had to overcome some like opiate stuff, like, and I did, fortunately, but like they want lifetime customers, right? So I've had some negative effects with pharmaceuticals, and I've seen people that are prescribed things that it's just, you can't just take a pill and expect your body to heal and maintain the same lifestyle that you had, right? Like, so that's kind of one of the things that bothers me about American modern medicine. I don't know how it is in other countries, but you can't just take pharmaceuticals to fix problems.
Yeah, I mean, I've touched on that a few times on this program. I kind of have high blood pressure. Some of that is because I drink too much and I, don't make the best choices for myself. But one of the ways that I combat it is taking a beetroot extract daily, because I feel like rather than getting on these pharmaceuticals, right, for blood pressure and cholesterol and all this stuff, I feel like there's other ways to combat it, at least from and I'm not an expert in this, so I'd be curious to get y'all's opinion. Beetroot extract, garlic, that's kind of what I take for some of my heart health. I'd be curious to hear your thoughts on that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
beetroot is great for nitric oxide, which is going to increase our antioxidants. It's going to increase our circulation. So yeah, you're doing a lot of benefit by taking something from the earth. Is that the perfect thing? I don't know, but it's awesome that you were like, I don't want to go down this band-aid end of road path that is really kind of closing ourselves off from having any understanding or having any like deep connection with our own body. That's really the first step. Like, that's really awesome. I love that.
Yeah. And I think the thing with pharmaceuticals, I mean, they can save lives, right? Like there is a place for that. But like my hope is that someone goes to their doctor and their doctor says, okay, your A1C is high, you're pre-diabetic. Maybe we use something like metformin while we teach you how to exercise and eat clean and get your sleep and your stress back on track. And then we can wean you off of it. Not here's metformin, I'll see you in 10 years and you're on it for life. That's where we have to like meet in the middle with these prescriptions. And yeah, the natural stuff is great, but just like the prescriptions, right? Certain statins a lot of the time don't work for people. And same thing with like natural supplements, hawthornberry, beetroot, all these amazing things. For some people, it really moves the needle, but for other people, it doesn't. You have to find what works for you. And that's where biohacking comes in. It's so personal. So even like Lauren and I are sisters, we're 2 years apart, we're pretty similar. But there's different biohacks that work better for me than for her. And so you have to be your own advocate. Even when you go to your doctor, you have to say, this is what's happening and really speak to what you need and ask the right questions. But unfortunately, a lot of traditional medicine practices, they only give you 5 minutes. So you can only talk to them about so much. Yeah.
I can see that being a struggle. Yeah, I mean, because there is a place for pharmaceuticals and they do help people, but at the same time, it's like I like the lifestyle change sort of philosophy when you're actually trying to make an impact on your life long term, because it's like this whole quick fix society that we have nowadays, where it's like people just want to fix something so fast and they think they deserve immediate results, which if you're doing something that's actually worth it, you're more than likely going to have to do it for the long term to see any benefit from it, you know?
Yeah. Lifestyle is where it is.
Culture has definitely taught us that we're not supposed to be uncomfortable. That's a thing that we're supposed to avoid for some reason, but that's how our species has survived and thrived and grown over these hundreds of thousands of years. We didn't get here by not being stressed and doing hard things. But in our current culture, it's super cush. It's super comfy. People are like so afraid of having like the slightest bit of discomfort. And so, yeah, it's taught us that if conventional whatever can give us something that will take our pain away and not make us uncomfortable anymore, I understand why people say yes to that. I get it. But there's like a lot of other ways. A lot.
Yeah. That kind of hits on something that I talk a lot about on this program. It's a quote that I've said many times. Art knows where I'm going to go with this. And that's, generally speaking, people will do more to avoid pain than they will to gain pleasure. And I think that ties into a lot of different things. It could include your health. It can include relocating, include any challenges that we have. It just kind of piggybacks off of that instant gratification and that instant fix all the time. Just looking for, not taking that long, cold, hard road and just looking, I'll just take this pill and everything will be fine. Just take this vaccine, everything's going to be fine. Everyone wants that quick fix, rather than really evaluating where they're at in life, what their body needs, what their body's telling them, and some of these alternative solutions, right? It's all about that quick fix.
Yeah. And I mean, I focus on my health because I don't want to feel like crap every day. So I kind of did come from the place of like being miserable and in pain and tired and brain fog. And I was like, this sucks. I don't want to live another like 80 years like this.
What were you doing to mess up? Like, what were you doing to mess up? And like, because we like to talk about like, what was the catalyst that brought, because right now the two of you are successful doing what you're doing, but you weren't always. So it's like, what led you to where you're at?
Oh yeah.
This is the good stuff.
It's been quite a journey. I mean, so I went to my undergrad was international business, got my dream job out of college, realized I hated it. I was just sitting in a cubicle Monday to Friday, 9 to 5, but I was also like drinking a lot. I wasn't really eating that great at the time. I never was like the big fast food chain kind of girl, but I wasn't really eating great and super stressed, lots of caffeine, over exercising, under eating. And 2008, I just totally crashed. I was sleeping 13, 14 hours a night. I was just miserable, and went to my traditional doctor. They ran labs. They said, your labs are normal. Just keep sleeping. There's nothing else we can really tell you to do. So that was like the turning point for me. So then I discovered, again, the whole world of biohacking. It turned out I had like major hormonal imbalances, gut dysbiosis, mercury toxicity, Epstein-Barr virus was like rampant in my body. I had all these things, blood sugar imbalances because I wasn't eating great. And yeah, I don't ever want to feel like that.
Did the doctor find those things, or like how did you uncover that information?
No, I had to kind of piecemeal it together myself. I like found a chiropractor, an acupuncturist, an herbalist, a naturopath, did my own research, went back, got my master's in nutrition, really because I wanted to learn for myself. And then it became a career, which was great. But I had to go everywhere and look for all the answers. There was no single practitioner that could tell me all of that. I think it's a lot different today. I mean, that was in 2008. So things have changed. Obviously, podcasting, internet, more practitioners, holistic health in general has grown a lot. But yeah, that's my motivation. I don't want to feel like crap. Life's too short.
Yeah. But I recognize not everyone has pain points. Like we went through journeys and felt terrible. We were like, we don't want to feel that anymore. We want to feel something different and better. A lot of people don't have that pain point, which is the entry into making changes to feel better. A lot of people are just kind of floating along. They don't know, how high the ceiling could potentially go. They just think this is the way. My symptoms, whatever they may be, are completely normal. There's no other option. So that's what we like to educate on. Like there is another way. There are lots of possibilities. We can continue to raise the bar and raise the ceiling. Like, essentially, the sky is the limit for, I'd say, most people.
Yeah. And now we're on like the other end of the spectrum where I'm like, okay, I feel good, but I want to feel even better. And I want to feel this good when I'm 90, right? So that's the other thing we like to talk about is like health span. So everyone's always wanting to extend lifespan, right? How many years can we be on this planet? And that's where pharmaceuticals have actually helped extend lifespan. But for the first time ever, we are seeing a decrease in lifespan in Americans and adults in America today. Since like the 1890s, we're seeing a decline. So that's terrifying in itself. But so health span should equal lifespan. So my goal is, if I can live till I'm 90 or 100, but my last day, I'm with family, I'm laughing, I'm having a good time, and then I just fall asleep and don't wake up the next day, like that's the goal. I don't want to be in like a retirement assisted living for the last 20 years, stuck in a wheelchair eating chocolate pudding. I don't know, but so
unless
health
it's
span.
Really good chocolate pudding.
Yeah.
Give me the snack pack.
The snack bag.
Oh, I miss those.
Yeah. No, I mean, look, I agree with all that. What we do now is going to affect us later, of course. And I've been pretty vocal about I'm not educated in this stuff, right? I just have my intuition and my intuitive feelings about modern medicine. And sure, of course, there's cholesterol, there's A1C, all this stuff, of course, prolongs, longevity of life. But I don't really want to put any of that in my body unless it's like 100% absolutely necessary. Like I struggle to even take an Advil or anything like that. I don't like it. Coming from a guy that puts a lot of beer in his body, that's something I choose to do. Right. So, because I hear a lot of slack with that a little bit. Well, you don't want to take this, but you'll drink and do all this. Fair enough. I'll accept that. But I just don't really trust the big mission. And I think that's something that we've touched on a lot in this program is pharmaceuticals are looking for longtime customers. You can call it a conspiracy, you can call it what you want, but it's a business. I mean, we've seen what's happened with Pfizer. We've seen what's going on with the vaccines. I mean, it's just concerning. It's concerning. And we don't have all the details. And I think that's the other concerning piece is that we just trust what's being put out there. And then 3-4 years later, we see lawsuits. We see, things happening. And for me, I'm skeptical of it. I don't take it at face value. I like to kind of look from, afar and just kind of analyze what's going on before I make that decision. But I don't judge anybody for putting those things in their body. It's just something I don't want to personally do.
Yeah. And I feel like, it's good to have a certain level of skepticism, regardless of what you're doing in life, and to kind of follow your own intuition, right? And like make sure that it feels right to you, because normally that feeling is the correct feeling. And so it's good not to second guess that. But kind of going into intuition and unconscious thoughts and conscious thoughts, like, embedding thoughts into our subconscious. Do y'all consider that a form of biohacking? Like, affirmation because you're like changing your thought process? Like, have you done any research on that?
Sure.
I'm curious.
Research or, just
Or like just in
our
general, like,
understandings of it.
what are your thoughts
beliefs.
on that?
Yeah, I guess to come back to the definition of biohacking, for me, biohacking is hacking a particular path that you were going down. It's a pause. It's a reassessment. It's how can I do this better? Is there another path I can take? Can I take another turn? And so that's all mindset and really being able to think for yourself and get in touch with your intuition. That's a huge part of what we do in biohacking. With all this tech and data quantification, the end goal is to be so intuitive and in touch with your own body that you can make these decisions for yourself. We have to use the data and the tech in the meantime because we all have blind spots and because we've been brainwashed, really. Like the food industry, big pharma, they've designed these foods and drugs, everything that we consume is designed to keep us addicted, to hijack our brains, to not allow us to think for ourselves because we're fat, sick, toxic, tired. It really becomes tricky, and it all starts up here in the mind. So we're sick in the mind and we can't make good choices, good, healthy choices for ourselves. So if we can start to peel back those layers and just listen, like, what does my gut tell me? What does my intuition tell me? And I think it's really difficult for people, especially for women, because I think women have been shoved into more of a male structured society. And I know for a lot of my clients, they don't take care of themselves. My female clients have to take care of their spouse, their kids, their dog, like everybody before themselves. And so for us, biohacking is a way to, reset your mindset, peel back the layers, get in touch with what your body knows so deep inside of you is good and true for you. And that could be different for what's good and true for someone else. But at the end of the day, like, I love that you said that you don't judge anyone for what they want to do. We should be able to make our own choices for our own bodies. Like, end of story.
Yeah.
Couldn't agree more with that.
I mean, we know the power of the mind. I mean, just think about a placebo. Like, no one would argue that placebo doesn't exist. I mean, we're using that in like double blind, placebo-controlled studies. It's a thing because the power of the mind. And Lauren, you brought up a good point. Like, a lot of the food that we're eating or people are eating is hijacking the brain. Like, think about Pringles, right? What's their slogan? It's like you
can't stop. Once you pop,
you can't stop.
Yep.
I mean, the food industry knows exactly how to hijack our brains so we can't stop eating. They have these amazing chemists sitting in a lab saying, okay, if we combine this chemical with this amount of fat and this amount of sodium and sugar, people will keep eating and keep buying.
It's control.
Kettle jalapeno chips. Can you please knock that off?
Is that your go-to?
Oh my gosh, that was my weakness. Like, I literally walk by them in the grocery store and just look at them to make sure they
call
still
your
exist.
name. Like,
and then I leave. Sometimes I'll still buy them, but a lot of times I just go look at them. I'm like, okay, they're still there, and I have to leave now. But talking about like the mentality and stuff. So this isn't one of ours. We heard it on a motivational video at one point. And it talks about this like 3 to 5 second rule of your thought process and intuitive thought compared to complacency and stuff. Like, have y'all heard about any of that? So like,
not at your sure. Faces?
Yeah, so
I don't think so.
So our intuition will more than likely tell us what we need to do, and that's normally the exact right thing that we should do. But it's going to tell us something that might be difficult to accomplish. So it's not always an easy thing that our intuition will tell us what we need to do. And there's like 3 to 5 seconds from when that intuitive thought hits our brain to when we subconsciously start trying to talk ourselves out of doing that because of complacency, basically. So there's like this whole thought process behind living life within 3 to 5 seconds all the time, to where you're just constantly listening to your intuition, acting on it immediately before you talk yourself out of it. So I think that's like a really interesting way to look at things. And if you can be conscious of that, then your life is going to start changing. I've been doing that heavily for maybe close to a year. And like, it's just so many things have changed and opportunities that I would have been like, I don't want to do that, or I don't feel like doing that. And I was like, no, but I thought I should do that. So we're just going to do it. Like it changed the game.
That's cool. I haven't heard of that. I'll have to
I
start
haven't either. And
applying
I
that.
really love that because I feel like the 3 to 5 seconds most people don't even experience because that it's like less than a blink of an eye where we live in a very reactionary orientation because things scare us. So fight or flight turns on, it's survival mode. And so people are doing things that don't even make sense because they're just acting out of fear. So I think even just being able to capture those 3 to 5 seconds and think for yourself, even if you don't act on it, but it sounds like the practice of acting on it is really, really powerful. I think just that step one, just acknowledging that and being able to have a pause. It's so hard for people.
Yeah, it sucks sometimes because I'll be like
Yeah.
finishing up a walk and then I'll be like, I need to, because I live on the 11th floor, and then I'll be like, I need to walk up the stairs at the end of this walk. I'm like, damn it, why did I think about that? Now I have to do that. And then, I'll be thinking, well, do I really need to? I could get back up to my desk faster if I don't do the stairs. And that's just, I'm like, shut up, Arthur. You're like trying to talk
Rational
yourself
mind
out
kicks
of,
in. Yeah.
yeah, you're trying to talk yourself
justifying.
out of doing it. So it's interesting now that that you two know about that. I guarantee there's going to be little things that pop up. Like when you want to do your cold bath, you're probably like, I don't want to hop. I need to do that. And you're like, I don't want to hop in there. Like maybe I don't need to do that right now.
Yeah.
That's interesting because actually sometimes the longer I spend with that thought, the more I don't know. I'm so into balancing pros, cons. Like I probably should listen to my intuition more with things like that. And I'm actively practicing that. I don't know if I'm taking a tangent, but I'm in a microdosing protocol right now. And one particular blend I'm experimenting with is called Balance. It's a proprietary blend, but I often take that pause and then don't act. And Balance is really helping me not second guess myself and lean more into that intuition, which I think is exactly what you're saying, where you're just going for it. And it's important, I think. I'm not sure if this is part of the 3 to 5 second pause, but going for it and listening to your intuition teaches your body to communicate with you. And the more that we don't listen to that and act on it, then we teach our intuition to stop speaking. And that's why so many of us have gotten so far away from an intuitive practice. We don't know how to eat. We don't know how to exercise. We don't know how to do anything, make any choices for ourselves. That's why we're going online and looking at experts and doing what our friend is doing. Like we don't know how to trust ourselves because we trained our intuition to stop talking. It's wild.
Yeah.
So
That's a
it's a
good
big
point.
practice.
Yeah. Well, I think psychedelics can be such an amazing path for people that don't know how to listen to their body, right? Creating these new neural networks that allow us to explore a little bit more and then tune into what's going on.
Yeah, it just slows
Like
everything down.
like mushrooms and stuff. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, mushrooms and stuff.
Yeah, you guys are in Colorado. You know what's up.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's decriminalized out here.
It's definitely a thing. I mean, they have mushroom chocolates now, and they have mushroom coffee and things like that, which I think is great. I'm a big fan of mushrooms, like the regular kind. I eat
portobellos.
I like bellas. I like oyster mushrooms.
Shiitake, yeah.
I like shiitake. I like mushrooms. I eat them. I think they're healthy. I think they're great. They're a good source of B vitamins. I haven't really got too much into the psychedelic world, but we had a gentleman on our podcast named Adam Salzman 100 episodes ago or so, something like that. And I was just blown away by what I learned about what these, these psychedelics can do in a microdosing form to, we've heard stories of repairing and reversing PTSD, bipolar disorder, anxiety. I mean, it's just incredible. I mean, I think there's a lot of medicinal research that still needs to be done on it, but for the folks that we've heard, stories from, it's been incredible to see what it can do. So, I think, again, going back to, the holistic and natural, remedies of things, this is something that grows naturally, just like THC and marijuana and things like that. Of course, big in here in Denver, of course, as well. I think it's good that we're reaching a point where we can start to explore medically, scientifically, what kind of benefits this can have to folks. Because this is something that grows naturally. I mean, I grew up in New England, and my buddies used to go up to Vermont, and they would do, it was called, what did they call it? I mean, there was cow tipping, of course, which, not PETA approved, but they would go patty flipping, I guess it was called. They would flip over the cow shit, and there would be mushrooms underneath it. And they would go mushroom hunting. That's what it was.
You can
Mushroom
usually
hunting.
find
There you go.
them there in the poop.
Yet
In the
they're
poop.
illegal. It grows on this planet and it's illegal. It's like the earth
Well,
provided
because
it.
they can't
they're mind
patent it.
expansive rather than mind controlling and hijacking. So,
Yeah.
That's it.
they're kind of
That's it.
dangerous.
You just you hit the nail on the head there.
Yeah, I mean, because like, look, even though there's governments and countries, if you really listen to your intuition and know what's going on, you know that the big like mega companies rule the world. They help create policies and all that sort of stuff, and like, so it's interesting, and it's odd too, because at the same time, us even having this conversation, like, does that then red flag us to where it's like, you know, like, oh, these people are talking about natural remedies on you know, platforms that are going to be listened to, so do we want that to get out there? And it's just, there's so many areas where corruption can like bleed through, and like I said earlier, I feel like everything is a little corrupt from the top down, and we just have to like find a way to navigate that in life and still like have a happy life without being upset all the time. I don't know. There's a lot to unpack with that. There's a lot to unpack.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sorry. Hopefully
I
that was okay. We brought that up.
I mean, the point of us bringing it up is that we all just need to trust ourselves a little bit more. And we're all talking about intuition. I think if that's the one takeaway, like, how can you get more in touch with your intuition? I think that's kind of like a safe thing. It's a good thing.
Yeah.
I think it is. Yeah, I think it is. I mean, like I was saying, I don't think, you know, we don't have enough data to really support otherwise. That's the thing. What's the counter argument? The counter argument is, like Art said, there's no way for them to really get their hands in the cookie jar and regulate this thing. You know, and that's why Denver was the first city to, you know, kind of decriminalize this thing. And I don't dive too much into it, but I find it very fascinating because it's right here at our fingertips. We've seen the results. I know people around me that have experienced tremendous results. You know, would that be considered a biohack at that point?
I would count it as a biohack.
Yeah, I mean, you're changing the neuroplasticity of your brain. That's an optimization. You're raising the ceiling. I say yes.
Yeah. And there's actually a lot of research that, so are you familiar with like the first wave, second wave, third wave of psychedelics? Have you heard that before? I've
probably experienced them, but I haven't heard of them.
And Lauren could probably chime in more about this, but anyways, the second wave, there was actually a lot of research, but then Nixon, you know, the war on drugs and blah, 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 it all got kind of shut down, but there was actually a lot of research hidden from then. Now we are in the third wave, and hopefully it will continue on. But they're doing a lot more research now, like even antidepressant resistant cases. People are using psilocybin. So it's like people need the help. And so I think the more we see the research come out, the healthier everyone's going to get. But anyway, so the third wave is where we're at now. And hopefully it's a better ending than the first and second wave.
Yeah. I mean, I'm really excited, and I think there's a huge opportunity there, but at the end of the day, this also is not a magic pill. And I think for all the people out there that are excited about it and just think it's going to solve all their problems, take away their depression, PTSD, no, it's not. Like, it's still a lot of work. The container and the safety and the integration and the space and the community that's required for this actually to make it successful takes work. And I know people don't want to hear that. It could be like shiny toy over there. And yes, there's amazing research. And yes, the third wave could be the most powerful and the most lasting, but nothing else is going to do the work except for you. You have to do the work. That's kind of like the good news and the bad news.
Well, and I agree with that too, because, you know, everything in moderation is the best, right? Like, Renee, you were even saying how you were overworking out earlier. Like, you could overdo anything. But to Lauren, what you're saying, yeah, there's going to be a lot of work that needs to be done. And we can't just depend on one fix. Like, you can't just do one thing to change it all. Like, so for example, like, I've been trying to do biohacking with like intermittent fasting, with frequent walks, swimming, not snacking at night, like a bunch of different things. But that is the point that I'm trying to make, is I'm attacking it from like 5 different angles, and that's how I'm seeing the results. And even then, it takes 6 months, 8 months, almost a year to start seeing the results, attacking it from multiple angles. Like, you can't just say like, I'm going to do one thing differently and that's going to change everything. I feel like that's an unrealistic expectation. So yeah, as great as it can be, and the horizon is hopefully amazing and beautiful, as far as the psychedelic thing goes and all the benefits from that, but that can't just be the solution. Like, you have to have other areas of attack.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, Art.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
it kind of goes back to what we were talking about with like this instant gratification that a lot of folks have. They want that instant result. Give me the pill that's going to fix everything. Give me this. Let me just eat that. Let me drink this shake. Let me lose weight this way. Everyone's looking for that quick hack, right? Something that they can just take. But it comes down to making that commitment, that lifestyle change. Sure, this is a tool. This is a resource. But you have to put in the time. You have to put in the effort. Repetition is the mother of skill, right? So if you really want to make this change and you want to repair these things, and maybe mushrooms can help, or even pharmaceuticals, whatever it is, just relying on one source, I don't think is going to be enough. I just don't. I think it might give you that temporary high. We talked about placebo a little bit. It exists 100%. But is it going to have long-term results? I think the answer is no.
Yeah, you bring up a good point. Everyone is looking for that reward. People want to lose that 50 pounds in 3 months, and it's like, it's just not going to happen. So the big question in our world is, how do we get people to make these long-term changes? Like the reward might be 6 months away, like you said, but the more you can stack the different things, the faster you will get there, right? And that's the beauty of biohacking. Like, say you want to optimize your sleep, right? Most people will just go grab a bottle of melatonin off the shelf or something, but it's like, well, no, get a sleep tracker, do all the sleep hygiene stuff, optimize your diet, optimize your stress, do all these other things, and then use the data to actually see what is making the change. I mean, you might feel it like, oh, I think I slept better, but like, what does your data say? And when we have that data confirmation, that gets us to stick to the plan longer, I think.
So kind of a side note on that. Lauren, I didn't cut you off, did I?
Not at all.
Okay. It's with the Zoom. This is how it goes. There's a Zoom delay. That's just how it is. But I weird thing. I want to know if this is consistent. And I know I've told you these stories, Kevin. But it hasn't happened as much recently either, though. And I don't do it all the time either. So I will take melatonin occasionally to just, get that good zonk out. But then I've noticed I'll have like really vivid, almost violent dreams when I'm on melatonin. Like, have the two of you heard of like people taking melatonin and like having wild, crazy dreams, or violent, or just very?
Definitely.
Yep.
Huh.
Yep. Yeah. Most people will notice a change in their dreams. And yes, it can be more like active, more violent, frightening, more nightmares, things like that. Some people, it doesn't impact them in that way, but I would say more so, yes.
Does melatonin, and I don't know this, I don't know any of this stuff. So does melatonin and like, what else is it?
Chamomile.
No, it's well, does melatonin, if you take it frequently, increase like dementia and Alzheimer's? Same with
Does it
Benadryl.
increase that?
Yeah, I've heard like Benadryl. If you take Benadryl often, because that will like make you sleepy too. Like then those.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
you do
I mean,
all the time.
Yeah. I mean, Benadryl and like other sleep aids, they're typically just, I would say, knocking you out. And actually, if you take something like that and then you use a sleep tracker, you'll see you might think that you slept 8 hours, but maybe most of the 8 hours you're actually in light sleep. And we really need deep sleep. That's where we're doing all the repair and restoration. And then we also need REM sleep. That's when we're consolidating all of our memories. You're having the crazy dreams. So a lot of those sleep aids just keep you in that light sleep. So you still wake up, you might be a little groggy, you don't feel great. So the sleep aids are really not a good solution.
Yeah. So I'm not sure the direct connection, but it would make sense to me if you're not getting into that deep restorative sleep, but that's going to lead to inflammation in the body, which is going to lead to neuroinflammation and neurodegenerative conditions, which would, I don't think anybody wants that. With melatonin, the problem is that we talked about this recently on a podcast. It's not for sleep. It's associated with sleep because it is the hormone of darkness. So in contrast to cortisol, which is high when the sun is high in the sky, when the sun goes down, it's dark outside, our body naturally produces melatonin. So people decided to bottle that hormone that gets naturally released in our bodies when it's dark, because no one is dimming the lights at nighttime and winding down. We're watching really stimulating TV till midnight on our phones, our devices, potentially drinking too late. That's quite a long list of all the things we're doing that are against our circadian rhythms at night. So we've put melatonin on the shelf. It's not for sleep. It's actually really better as a jet lag supplement to reset your circadian rhythm after travel. And it's also really great if your immune system is down because it's antioxidants, antiviral. It's really powerful at helping the body get into a healing state. But I would say like on an everyday basis, it's not really that helpful for sleep. So I think it's just gotten a, it got
There's
the
a
wrong name.
misconception behind it. It has like moons and the stars on the bottle.
Well, and they figured out a way to market, because I think is it the pineal gland? One of the glands in the brain. Is that it?
Yep.
That's what naturally produces melatonin.
Yeah.
Well, more is
not sure
produced
why I
in your
know that,
gut, but yes, so
Oh,
the pineal gland produces some melatonin. Yeah.
Okay, so that's naturally where it forms, and they figured out a way to bottle this thing, market it. So we kind of talk about how like naturally at night, because I worked nights for a little bit and I hated it. It's not natural to sleep during the day, right? I mean, we as humans are not really wired to do that, but I talked to a lot of people that love working nights and then they sleep during the day. But what would we say to those folks? I mean, as far as like their natural production of melatonin and their sleep cycles, it's got to be a little bit different, right?
Yeah, shift workers, we see a lot of health issues and people that change time zones frequently. But I also I'm trying to be skeptical because I think if you think ancestrally, and I always default to what did our ancestors do? How did it exist in that environment? There must have been someone in the tribe that had to work and stay alert through the night. And then potentially they had to sleep during the day. Like there must be some modern context for this. But in general, we are seeing in the research that they are getting sicker. There's more inflammation,
more cancer.
Their bodies are more cancer. So I don't really know what the solution is there. I would say I would probably avoid shift work if I can. But me and my, rational brain, my biohacking brain, I'm like, there's got to be some evolutionary reason for someone to be in that role. I don't know. I don't know what the solution is.
What I believe tribally back in the day is it would be a position that would, change hands throughout the week or throughout. So it wouldn't always be the same person that would
makes
be
sense.
doing this. Like that's what, because you're right. Yeah. Like somebody had to be on point and like maybe they did like it and they did a couple extra nights that week, but
although the people that have to shift those shifts right nowadays have worse health outcomes than the ones that always work the night shift.
Oh,
so that's
we have a big mystery on our hands.
Yeah. Like for like my nurses and stuff that have to work night shift, I'm like, you're better off just like working the night shift for 6 months. Like just stick to that and get on that 24-hour clock versus like night shift Monday, Tuesday, and then day shift Thursday, Friday. Those people I see have the worst health.
It's confusing to your body. Yeah. The body likes consistency.
It's interesting though. Yeah.
Yeah, we've unpacked a can of worms here because now I'm kind of thinking about this. With I have so many folks that work over. I think my brother does. He's a truck driver, so he pulls cars overnight. He gets home at like 4 or 5 in the morning, which is like that's his unwind time. So he can have a couple beers, have something to eat, and he goes to bed when the sun's up. And I did that for a little bit too, but I just remember it doesn't. You don't feel rested. That's what I noticed the most. You don't feel rested, even when you take a nap. I don't do much napping. What are your guys' thoughts on naps? Because I know like when I was in my 20s. I'd come home because I used to work like 4 a.m. So I'd get up early, do work, and then I'd take like a 2-3 hour nap before I'd go party with the boys on a Friday night. But I felt like I always felt worse after a nap.
Yeah.
I'm not a napper. I can't nap. It decreases my sleep pressure too much. But Renee is a queen napper. Very good at napping.
Queen napper.
Queen napper.
Yeah. Tell us, Renee.
Yeah. For me, like 30-minute nap, I get up and I'm a new person. I feel amazing. My brain is sharp. It's just like, it's my jam. But yeah, some people just can't nap because like Lauren said, then, bedtime comes around and they're not tired now because they napped or like you said, you'll nap and then you wake up and you have like the brain fog. You feel really out of sorts. So you have to kind of figure out what works for you.
You're doing like a 20, 30 minute like, you're talking 3 hours. Lauren, if you were to nap, how long would you nap for?
I like the NASA nap. Do you know about this? NASA has said that 22 minutes is the perfect amount of time. So if I really, the NASA nap. So if I like bombed my sleep the night before or I traveled or something, I really do need a nap. Because typically my energy is pretty high and I just won't be tired enough if I do nap. But if I really am tired, I love drinking a cup of coffee and then I'll lay down. I'll set a timer for 25 minutes. So a little bit of a buffer. allowing my body to sleep for the 22 minutes. And then by the time the 25 minutes is up, the coffee hopefully is kicked in and I'm like, yeah, let's go.
Coffee nap.
Okay.
It works pretty good.
So I don't know if I've ever heard that before. So you're essentially saying, okay, I'm going to put some caffeine in the body, but it's not going to kick in until my 22-minute nap is over with.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, when you drink coffee, do you instantly feel it? Usually it takes like a little ramp up.
I guess that's a good point. I haven't drank coffee in a while because I haven't really needed it in the morning. I love coffee, but I think there's also like a little bit of like that warm, hot liquid in the morning. Just that alone, I think naturally wakes up the brain a little bit. Like if I have to get on like an airplane or something early, I'll definitely do coffee. And just that first couple sips, I always notice I'll pour a full cup. I won't finish it. Just a little bit of that. Like, I don't know if it's a placebo or not. Maybe that's just my body just needs a little bit of it, but I can definitely feel the results immediately.
Yeah. I think the smell too. Like sometimes like I'll set my coffee maker up like the night before and I'm like, don't smell it. Don't smell it. Cause it'll make
Shut
you
the
more
bedroom
alert.
door. Don't allow the aromas to enter.
It's so good though.
So how's everybody doing their coffee on this pod? All right. Renee, how do you drink your coffee? What are you doing with that?
I like 1 cup in the morning and I use like a keto creamer. So it's got some like butter, whey protein, MCT oil blended up. It's delicious.
Keto creamer. Is it flavored?
Creamer. It is. It has a little bit of natural vanilla and monk fruit. So a little sweetness.
Oh, I do like monk fruit. That is a good alternative for sweeteners.
Yeah.
Lauren?
Yeah.
How is your coffee prepared?
Some days I'm drinking the 4 Sigmatic, like functional mushroom coffee that has lion's mane in it. I love that. And actually, as of late, my obsession is adding a little Element tea chocolate salt. Do you know Element? It's the electrolyte company. It comes in a little pack and there's some fun flavors.
My mom was adding like some chocolate, some like dark chocolate type stuff to coffee before. I don't know if it was the same one.
I wonder if it was that. So it's electrolyte. So I just dump like a
it was
little
like a
salt.
powder. Yeah.
Yeah. So I get my electrolytes in my coffee with the functional mushrooms. It is really delicious. Blend that up. I can drink a lot of coffee. I love my coffee. So sometimes if I'm making coffee, I like cream in my coffee. So just pure fat and off we go.
It's a robust roast with fungi.
It's delicious. I'll tell you this: when 4 Sigmatic came to the market, my last company, I actually sold it for a little bit. Can't say I'm super well versed in what it is, but I've tasted it. They have a couple of different varietals. I think it's fantastic. It's delicious. I grew up in New England, so I'm a Dunkin' Donuts guy when it comes to coffee. When I drink it, I'm going to have a cup of regular, as we say up there in the Northeast. Cup of regular, cream only. Hold the sugar.
Hold the sugar.
Oh.
Sugar. I love it.
So I'm so embarrassed. So we grew up in Maryland, which is, the East, not quite the Northeast, but I went to Rhode Island recently. I didn't know that Dunkin' Donuts was a thing. I'm walking around. I'm like, where is the Starbucks? It's all Dunkin' Donuts. I'm like, what is going on in this place? Just Dunkin' freaks everywhere.
Yeah. I mean, the best way to sum up us New Englanders is friends don't let friends drink Starbucks.
That's
okay.
good.
I guess I wasn't welcome there. I really do like the taste of Starbucks coffee. I do.
So did you know that Starbucks intentionally burns all their beans so they can have a consistent flavor at every single location?
That's a fun fact. I think it tastes burnt. So that makes sense.
Yeah. I do my coffee black and I drink about 6 cups.
6?
Yeah, about 6
Whoa.
cups.
That's a half a carafe.
No, like 6
That's
cups
impressive.
of like not cups of coffee, but like a cup, like a measuring cup.
A sixth?
No, like a 6
Like 6
cups.
ounces?
Like, you have a cup of water. It's like add 1 cup to the
8
recipe.
ounces.
That's 8 ounces. Yeah.
Yeah. So
48
however
ounces?
many of coffee. I
You drink
suppose.
6 cups, is what you said.
So
Drink the 6 cups.
on the coffee brewer that they like have like the measuring things, and it says 12 ounces on the top, right?
No, that's 12 cups.
12 cups. Yeah. So I'm doing 6 cups.
That's 6 cups, Art.
Yeah.
That's a lot of coffee.
Is that a lot of coffee?
Yeah.
It's
That
only
is a
like
lot of
half
coffee.
a carafe. That's a half a carafe.
that's only like 3 cups.
It isn't.
Like
it's 6.
In America, it is.
3 mugs.
In America, that's 3 cups. Yeah. Most people.
Three mugs.
Yeah.
How do
Because
you
our
sleep at
mugs are
night?
huge.
How big's the
Yeah.
mug? Because I've seen 6, I've seen 4, 6, 8, 12 ounce mugs.
Well, it depends on the day. I got it.
Hopefully you're not drinking 6 of these. That would
No,
be
it's like
big.
three. It's like 3 of those.
Still a lot.
Is that a lot of coffee?
I think it's a little bit. Yeah.
Huh.
But it's
That's
to
a
your
little-
tolerance. How do you sleep?
No.
I sleep great.
Well, end of
Yeah,
story.
I mean, I would say 4 out of 7 days a week, I wake up excited, refreshed, and feeling fortunate for the day.
That's awesome.
Winning.
Right about there. Yeah.
Hashtag winning.
Hashtag own
Hashtag
it.
winning.
Hashtag own
What
it.
are your hashtags for Biohacker Babes?
Oh,
Ooh,
That's a
what
good
are?
question.
I don't think anything like fun or sexy. It's like human
Hashtag.
optimization.
So-
Hashtag metabolic health.
biohacking. Yeah.
Yeah. People
All the
see how to
So, like,
optimization.
what would be some custom phrases that we're not like? So Kevin like took this on hashtag letter rip tater chip.
It was a long time ago.
We got hashtag own it, hashtag believe and achieve. Those are like our kind of mantras. So what would the Biohacker Babes hashtag mantras be?
Oh, man.
Oh,
That's a good question.
gosh.
I like
I
your
don't know.
hashtags. Those are cool.
I know. We got to go into a creative session after this. We're like, oh man,
Yeah.
we're missing out. I don't know. I always default to my favorite book, which is the 4 Agreements / the 5th Agreement now. So probably something about being curious and also skeptical. I don't know. Be curious but skeptical.
Hashtag
Yeah.
curious but skeptical.
Something
That's
like
a good
that.
one.
That could
That's
work.
a good one. Yeah.
Training for
that
the
book's
off
on
season. Oh, that's a new one that we did a couple weeks ago.
Ooh.
Training for the off season.
Hashtag training for the off season. I like that one.
Yeah, so that's training to not need your wearables anymore. So a lot of biohackers are like, wearables for life, data. Oh my gosh, they're attached to 10 things. It's like, oh my God, be a human. So we're trying to train people to, again, get in touch with their intuition so you don't need your wearables anymore. So we're training for the off season. I don't know. I'm working on it.
Hashtag be a human. There you go.
Yeah.
Hashtag be human again.
Be human again. Yeah.
Hashtag think for yourself.
Think for yourself. Yeah. Hashtag make being a human great again.
Oh God.
Oh my there you go. Done.
That's
Yeah.
great.
I got all the wearables though. I'm guilty. Guilty as
I
charged.
know. What do you got going on? You looks like you got 2 on your right wrist. Do you have something on your left too? Do you have a one of the rings too that also like does the?
Yeah.
So you're wearing 3 things right now that are counting. Are they all counting the same number? Like, are all of them at the same step? Like your
They're
steps on the day?
similar.
One
They're
is not a
similar.
wearable.
Yeah, this one's not a wearable. This
Oh,
is
okay.
this is actually just a grounding bracelet. So it has some like stones in it that protect me from all the EMFs everywhere. But then the Aura ring and the BioStrap kind of do the same thing. They measure like your stress, sleep, activity. People make fun of me all the time that I have both on. I know I'm a weirdo, but it's kind of fun to see the data. I like to compare.
So when's your off season?
I'm not ready for the off season. No, we talk about the data debate a lot. Like I totally agree with Lauren that a lot of people are so obsessed with their data and they need to get away from it and learn how to just live without it. But it's fun for me. It doesn't ever upset me because so both of these devices, when you wake up in the morning, it gives you a readiness score. So out of 100, it'll say how ready you are for the day. 80 plus is a really good score. 50 to 80, below 50. Hopefully you had an amazing night last night. That's all I'll say about that. But I'll look at my score and I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Like I drink
You'll
wine
normally
before
agree with
bed
what
or-
it says.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting.
But there are biohackers that are like, oh, I got a 70. My day is just ruined. What am I even going to do today? You know what I mean? They're like very negative about it. So for those people, yes, it is time to take a break from the data. But
yeah.
So you would tell those people, you would tell those folks, maybe you're putting a little bit too much stock into the score, right?
Yeah. Because then it's also like, well, how do you feel? Do you actually feel like a 70? If you do, then hey, go for a walk, maybe do like a meditation or a nap. Don't go do CrossFit or some high intensity interval training that day. Just like use it as input to guide your day, not to upset you.
Well, and it I can't help but think about, a reactive versus a proactive mindset. Like if you're waking up and you are starting to complain about, oh, my readiness level for today is like 65, like my whole day is shot. Like that's a reactive mentality. So I would challenge anyone who is doing that to have a proactive mentality and say, okay, well, what can I do right now to turn that 65 that is displayed into like a 75 mentally? Like, because there's always something little that we can do. So, Lauren, you had mentioned the Four Agreements, that book. It's a quick read, cool book. I have to revisit it soon. It's in my stack. Another cool book that I'm reading right now is The Power of Now and appreciating the current time. And that's been really something that has helped bring a lot of light and joy into my present, and being aware of what we can be thankful for. Like, even if I did wake up hungover, like, at least if you're focusing on the now, then you can think like, okay, yeah, I might not physically feel good, but then you're, looking outside, you're feeling the light in the room. Like, what does the energy feel like? And there's all these different places that you can focus energy currently and receive energy from just by focusing on the present. So I always like to talk about that. It's something I'm probably going to continue to talk about, is focusing on the now, because past we can learn from it. The future we can look forward to it, but we're only in this moment. And I'm enjoying sitting here next to you, Kev, and having the two of you over here as well.
This is a great moment. Yeah. Hey, I'm on the same path. I'm trying to focus more on the present moment as well. And this year, like, my word of the year is gratitude. And I know, like, people are like, oh, that's so old, like gratitude, boring. But like, a new respect for gratitude is like in the present moment, like you said, like feeling hungover. Okay, but how can I be grateful for that in the moment? Like finding gratitude in everything. And this really came to be because I was in Costa Rica over New Year's week, and I did a Wachuma ceremony. And halfway through the ceremony, I was like, I'm done. I want to get off the ride. I don't feel good. I feel uncomfortable. I just want to like get out of my skin. I'm done. And the guide that was with me, he's like, you have to find gratitude in this moment. Find gratitude in the discomfort, because like we started this conversation, right? We're all just comfortable all the time. So learning how to sit in the discomfort and be grateful for it. That is my lesson of the year.
Mm.
It's
Yeah.
a powerful one.
I love that.
That is a powerful one.
Soapbox.
So good.
So we always like to ask this question, and we are going to ask that both of you give us a reply. So Lauren, I'll have you start, but if you could give one piece of advice for humanity so everyone can be better tomorrow, what would that piece of advice be?
Oh, I just got so shy. Why do I have to go first?
And I knew this question was coming because I listened to your podcast, and
I did too, and I still
don't know. There's so many ways to go with it.
One piece of advice, I would say, it kind of trails off what Renee just said. Like, can we maybe not necessarily, I'm not going to say lean into the discomfort, though I think that is amazing advice, but to say something different, start to get more hip with quiet time. I think we are just masters of consumption. And that's not just eating and drinking. It's watching TV. It's on our phones. It's everything. We're constantly intaking information and inputs and signals. And our bodies have zero opportunity to talk back to us and give us feedback. And so we can
hip to quiet time. So what do you define as quiet time? And sorry if I cut you short there, because you're kind of brainstorming.
No, it's okay.
But what do you define as quiet time for the brain?
Not consuming anything. So put your phone away. I would probably even turn off music, because that's an input. Like, I would say you can have music from nature, like go outside and just be in the elements and allow as much silence as possible, because that's really when our body talks to us. So I don't know, the quiet time could look different for everyone, but your body can't talk to you when your phone is in your face and you're listening to podcasts and watching TV and eating food and multitasking. And so even just five minutes, 10 minutes, You know, I think the more time you invest, the more you'll get back. People are so adverse with quiet because it's uncomfortable. So it kind of comes back to the discomfort part, but it's such a magical space if you can go there. A lot of wisdom and insights
great
I think
advice.
can come. Yeah.
Terrific.
Thanks.
Yeah, that's good. All right.
Yeah.
I guess it's
Yeah.
my
You're
turn.
up, Renee.
Renee.
Yeah.
I think I would say to foster your friendships or your social connections. And I think this goes, not just in the health and wellness space. I mean, we do see a lot of amazing research on people with stronger social connections do live longer. That actually might be more important than what we're eating and how we're exercising and all the other things. So social connection, but then outside of the health and wellness space, I mean, we are as humans designed to be in these like wolf packs, right? We have never walked this planet alone. We have always had community. And I think in the last 5 years, especially, people are kind of walking on their own paths and feeling like I'm independent. I don't need other people, but we do need other people. We are people. So work on the connections that you have. And it doesn't count scrolling on Instagram. I mean, like go out, meet up with a friend, go for a walk. Yeah.
Live action. Live action will always trump any sort of social media or Zoom, any of that kind of stuff. I mean, as great as it's been, obviously we've been able to connect from all over the country, Vegas to Maryland to Denver. We know, technology does have its benefits, but to your point, you got to get live action. You got to get outdoors. You got to put the phones away, go have a meal, go get outdoors, take a walk, whatever it is. It just carries so much weight and so much value.
Well, and what I like about your sisterhood is that the two of you each said something that was a little polar, but both were extremely important. One was focusing inward and allowing yourself to listen to yourself. What an important task and challenging task that is. And sometimes, it's extremely uncomfortable to sit there with your own thoughts and to tame the randomness, like, because it comes at us in so many different ways if we can't calm it down and slow it down a little bit. So I love that piece of advice. Spend more time in silence, maybe, or going on a walk or in nature and with yourself, so you can actually find your own thoughts. And then on the contrary, Renee, you're like, we have to stay social. And I completely agree with that too. Like, I'm an extrovert. I don't know if that's like one of the things, but I feel like I love spending time with people, and it's so important, to feel that connection. So I like that between the two of you, you really like covered this whole spectrum of looking inward and, having that personal time, and also spending your time with others and the importance of sharing space with others as well. So I think that's really cool how the two of you were like kind of covered it all right there. I like that.
I just want to add, like, I think the reason that we're here on this planet is to love. And the best way to love is to first love yourself, and then we thread it through in loving others. So they are really connected, even though seemingly polar, and we have to do both. But it's all an act of love, really.
That's true. Yeah, because if you can't treat yourself well and you don't respect yourself, how are you going to treat anybody else well and respect anybody else?
Got to love yourself first. There is no easy button, like we said throughout this cast a few times. There is no instant gratification. There's no hack to it. There's cutting corners just isn't going to work. Surround yourself with the right people. Figure out what works for yourself. Focus on your health and nutrition. Focus on the things that bring you a sense of joy and fulfillment. Right? I mean, that's kind of beating a dead horse here, but I feel like those are the things that we should drive home.
Yeah, and so I can just put my own salt and pepper on this, betterment of humanity right now, because it's something that we've also touched on and that I've experienced firsthand, is that we have to do things we don't want to do to get to where we want to be. And that's important. Like, a challenge is important. Complacency is closing in on death, in my opinion. Like, all this complacency, and we have to get comfortable being uncomfortable in order to really figure out who we are. Like, diamonds are formed under pressure. Do you want to shine? It's like that kind of mentality. So I challenge everybody this week to really, take 5 to 10 minutes. And if you're really about it, 15 to 20, looking inward, turn off the music, maybe have a fan going, I don't know, some white noise, but, just try to keep it simple. And on the contrary, I also challenge you to make a phone call to somebody that you used to be well connected with, because we all get so caught up in life and being busy, and it's easy to lose connections. Maybe pick up the phone and call somebody that who gave us that challenge. Who's the last person on your text thread? Like, you go all the way to the bottom and then you call that person.
I think that was John Ekstrom.
I think John gave us that. So those are the two challenges. Look within and reach out as well. And maybe if this person is within the same state or city, try to meet up for like coffee or a drink or something, whatever you want to do, because texting, you can't hear a tone of voice, but there's nothing like being in person and reading body language, because we all do this naturally, and you can sense body language, especially when you're sitting in the same room. So I think those are all good things for our listeners to focus in on, and it's going to only benefit our lives, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Wish we could be there in person next time.
Next time. Yeah, like we say here on Discussion Combustion all the time, you guys are in the wheelhouse now, right? We're homies. We're friends. You're in the wheelhouse. So when you guys come through Denver, whenever that is, you're going to be on that couch over there. Art, get that camera over there, right over that way for a visit.
I love it.
And we're going to do it again. We're going to do it again, of course. But look, you guys are doing some tremendous things. Before we get out of here, obviously, part of this is the promotion block of this podcast. So we, our listeners, our viewers, where do they go? Where do they listen to your podcast? How do they get in touch with you on social media? Let them know.
Yeah, so our website is thebiohackerbabes.com. On Instagram, we are biohacker_babes, where you can find both of us. And then we have our own personal pages. We're the most active on Instagram. My page is Lauren_Sambatero. Maybe you have show notes because that's a long name. We're pretty active there. And Renee_Bells. She was a Sambatero.
No underscore.
No underscore.
Because Renee Bells is so unique. I didn't need the underscore. I don't know. Yeah. But yeah, we're on Instagram a lot. So yeah, DM us. It's just the two of us checking the messages. So would love to hear from people.
That's so awesome.
Yeah. And we'll include all that, of course, in the show notes down below. Scroll down to get in touch with our friends here. You say was it Sambatero? What was the Sambatero?
Sambatero. Yeah. Like,
Sambatero. Is that Italian?
It is Italian. It used to be Zambataro. And we Americanized it to Sambatero.
Love it.
Yeah.
It's awesome. Well, you two, I know you're going to keep challenging yourselves and giving people the motivation to challenge themselves. What an honor and pleasure to have a conversation with you. Like Kevin said, you're in the wheelhouse. You're going to see us promoting your stuff and back and forth. And then we like repeat guests. So we're going to see what's happening in like a year from now. What are the Biohacker Babes been up to? And it's super exciting. So that's a wrap on this one. Such a pleasure having you. And thank you so much for tuning in, listeners. Be good to yourselves.
You deserve it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, and we'll just cut it right in there. I'll stop this recording.